Pro golf was already shaking like it was about to split in half. Then Bryson DeChambeau detonated a bombshell, calling out the sport's power brokers for what he claimed was a massive betrayal. But nobody saw the next wave coming. NFL royalty stepped onto the tee. Tom Brady jumped into the fight and didn't just choose a side. He came in swinging, taking aim at the very core of the PGA Tour like he was ready for a full-blown showdown. What started as a quiet rebellion exploded into a public war of words that left the entire golf world stunned and scrambling to make sense of it all. The game you love suddenly feels under attack, and fans everywhere are scrambling for the truth. If you want the real stories behind the headlines, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now picture a battlefield so silent you can feel it. Right before the explosion, that was the mood in pro golf. Tense, unsteady, uncomfortably quiet. By spring 2024. The shock from that June 6, 2023 framework deal between the PGA Tour and the Saudi Public Investment Fund had settled into a strange, fragile silence. The public fireworks were gone. The lawsuits were paused. But behind the scenes, it felt like a full-on Cold War. The surface looked calm, too calm. But underneath, the fracture in the sport never healed. And everyone knew it. On one side, you had the PGA Tour. All tradition, legacy, and old-school pride were scrambling to survive a crisis no one saw coming. On the other side stood LDV Golf, the billion-dollar disruptor shaking up the game with shotgun starts, team squads, and some of the sport's most hyped names. And in the middle, the game itself, being pulled in two directions at once. For the loyal players who stayed, it felt like they were holding the line, defending the last vestiges of golf's old-school pride. But for those who jumped ship, the money was enormous. Yet so was the creeping fear that they were slowly fading out of the real conversation. They were cashing in places like Singapore and Adelaide, but their world ranking points, the true currency of respect, were evaporating right under their feet. They were becoming shadows, ghosts in a system they once dominated. The official World Golf Ranking, the OWGR, had become the new Iron Curtain. Their refusal to award points to LV events was sold as protecting the standards. At least, that's how the establishment framed it. But for the players on the outside looking in, it felt like a deliberate lockout, a punishment disguised as policy. One loud, fearless voice was all it would take to crack the silence and shake the sport from the inside out. The ice was seconds from breaking, and the hammer was in Bryson DeChambeau's hands. On an ordinary Tuesday, May 7, 2024, the former U.S. Open champ and Crushers GC captain appeared on SiriusXM's Fairways of Life. Calm, routine, until the conversation shifted to the OWGR. What followed wasn't polite frustration. It was a nuclear strike. Bryson spoke with heat, raw and unfiltered, laying the OGR's credibility bare. For a player known for scientific precision and data-driven decisions, the explosion was shocking. He called the refusal to award points laughable, then went straight for the jugular. He accused the OGR of lying, told the story of how Love Golf had been instructed to implement changes, including promotion and relegation, to qualify for points. They did everything asked, checked every box, and the door slammed in their face anyway. To Bryson, this wasn't a minor bureaucratic slap. It was betrayal. Intentional. Deceptive. Trust shattered. And when a player of his stature drops the word lied in pro sports, it lands like a hammer. This wasn't whining over a bad call. This was a call-out that could ignite a firestorm. This was a straight-up claim of betrayal aimed at the very organization meant to govern the sport globally. With a single radio interview, Bryson DeChambeau flipped the script entirely. Suddenly, it wasn't about 54 holes versus 72 holes or cuts versus no cuts. Now, it was about a broken promise. Loud, messy, unavoidable. Bryson didn't tiptoe. He swung a sledgehammer at the whole idea of polite negotiations, exposing what he believed was a rotten core buried beneath the surface. The bomb had officially dropped, and the shockwave was only just starting. For the next 7 days, the golf world buzzed nonstop over Bryson's words, social media ablaze, sports radio channels debating, clubs whispering, everyone asking, was Bryson right? Was the OWGR really playing dirty? The debate was contained in the golf bubble, until someone from a completely different universe stepped in. A name bigger than any golf controversy. Tuesday, May 14, 2024. Exactly 1 week after Bryson's bombshell, Tom Brady touchdowned in Louisville, Kentucky, for the PGA Championship. The greatest quarterback of all time, a symbol of excellence, leadership, and championship DNA. arrived as part of ESPN's College Game Day crew. But the moment the MIC swung his way, the conversation about college football and energy shifted instantly. Brady didn't talk X's and O's. He dove straight into the chaos shaking the pro golf world, and Tom Brady, now a minority owner of the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces and a trusted ally to players on both sides, didn't come to play nice. He came in like a full-on blitz, no hesitation. Eyes locked on the camera, confidence radiating from a 7-time Super Bowl champion. He said bluntly, golf needed a serious boost in leadership. He didn't dance around the drama. There's a lot of division, he said, and division sucks. Then came the line that Brady called out PGA Tour leadership directly. The implication was clear: they weren't doing their job. This wasn't a retired golfer grumbling out of frustration. This was Tom Brady, an American sports icon, publicly saying the most powerful leadership group in golf had failed. The impact. Instant shockwave. Brady wasn't vague. He laid the messy situation at Commissioner Jay Monahan's feet. Seismic. Credibility rock solid. Authority undeniable. Brady instantly validated every critic, every fan who felt the sport was drifting without direction. He wasn't just backing Bryson. He was taking the rebellion global suddenly. The quiet internal fracture in golf had its 5-star general, and the reaction was explosive. The golf world split in real time. Social media turned into a digital battlefield. On one side, the traditionalists and loyal PGA Tour supporters, dragging Brady for alleged hypocrisy. They reminded everyone of his past support for breakaway football leagues, questioning why an NFL legend was weighing in on golf at all. Monahan's defenders argued he was handed an impossible situation from day one. On the other side, a wave of agreement surged. Love golf supporters, Bryson fans, and even neutral observers praised Brady as the only figure bold enough to voice what everyone else feared. The quiet rebellion was now a full-blown war, and Tom Brady just made it impossible to ignore. Fans saw Tom Brady as a truth-teller, a big name with nothing to lose and no reason to sugarcoat anything. He was the one finally saying out loud what everyone had been whispering. Social media erupted. Comments repeated his critique. PGA Tour leadership had been reactive, not proactive, letting the sport fracture piece by piece. Old statements from players resurfaced like evidence. Rory McIlroy, who had recently flipped his stance and called for reunification, suddenly felt prophetic. I think we should let them come back. The divide wasn't just between tours anymore. It had moved into fans' minds. Who was really at fault? PGA Tour leadership for rigidity and hypocrisy. LIV Golf for